What's up YouTube, and hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Juju, and in this video we'll be going over all of the new nature cards in the new Gods Unchained expansion, Mortal Judgment. So nature is in an interesting spot in the current meta right now. We see mid-range nature be a thing. It's very common. It's actually one of the best free-to-play classes right now as well. Also, Amazon nature is also pretty popular, so we'll see if we get more Amazon support for the Mortal Judgment expansion. And control nature is still a thing, but it's pretty much fallen out of favor due to the existence of Dralamar and other combo decks. So it'll be interesting to see if they get support, but for the most part, definitely looking forward to see what these cards do. Just a heads up too, this is going to be my first impression, so take these thoughts and opinions with a grain of salt. Also, be sure to check out the other videos because we basically did all the other classes: death, light, war, magic, all that other stuff. So go ahead and check that out. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and begin. Okay, first up with our commons, we have Injured Sprout. This is a 1/1 1 mana 1/4 wild. Okay, regen 1. When this creature enters the board, it takes 3 damage. Oh, okay. So it's basically Marshwalker, but weaker. I mean, it heals itself, which is nice. So it's actually a 1 mana 1/2. And that's pretty much it. So I guess this card can see play, but it's pretty underwhelming in my opinion. Why play this card when you can just play Marshwalker? Cool. Next up, we have Vulpine Collector. This is 2 mana 3/2 wild, confused, tempt fate. Okay, so tempt fate is going to be a little harder to judge because it always depends on the buffs you get. But if this card gets like a decent buff, like maybe it's a blitz or a twin strike or protected, or maybe even hidden, or I don't know, something else, it could be good. Like 2 mana 3/2 is a decent stat line. Confused obviously hurts it a little bit, but the fact that it gets a tempt fate, maybe the tempt fate buff will overlook the confused buff, you know. So yeah, I think it's a decent card. Should be considered as a 2-drop option for wild decks. Cool. Next up, we have War's Wake. This is a 2 mana spell. Summon 2 1/1 Injured Sprouts. Okay, so for 2 mana, you summon 2 1/1 Injured Sprouts with regen 1, so they're 1/2s. You know what? I kind of like this card. And the only reason why is because it makes me think of it provides a lot of tempo, but I think it makes me think of Crescent Werewolf. And since these Injured Sprouts are like wild, you can play the werewolf, play War's Wake, summon the Injured Sprouts, and then refresh 2 mana. So that's definitely something interesting regarding these 3 cards. But yeah, I think Injured Sprouts are just kind of weak, so I digress. Maybe there's more support coming with these cards, so that'll make them a little more powerful, so we'll see. Cool. Next up, we have Swordbreaker Sage. This is a 3 mana 4/2 Amazon. Echo, remove 2 durability from your opponent's relic. Okay, so some relic removal for Amazons. That's pretty good. It also gets an Echo effect, which means you get a 1/1, 1 mana. And that 1/1 with 1 mana could possibly do something similar and be an Amazon. So that could be interesting in Amazon decks. Definitely a card to consider in Amazon. It's more than likely a tech card, though. Cool. Next up, we have Hibernating Ursine. This is a 7 mana 8/8. At the end of your turn, if this creature has an attack this turn, heal it to full health. Oh, that's kind of nice. 7 mana 8/8 is a decent stat line in my opinion. And whenever it needs to heal, it just doesn't attack, which is pretty good in my opinion. So this can be definitely a top end option for mid-range wild decks or mid-range nature decks. Definitely. Cool. Moving on to Penumbra Howler. It's a 1 mana 2/1 wild. If you control 2 or more other wild creatures, give them 1 strength. Okay, cool. So this falls into the line of like the Crescent Wolf synergies that we've been talking about. Basically, play this card, give your other wild creatures 1 strength. And this synergizes well with the Injured Sprouts, but also Marshwalker. So I'd keep that in mind when making like an aggro wild deck. Cool, moving on, we have Nemesis Wasp. This is a 3 mana 3/3 Tempt Fate. At the start of your turn, this creature attacks a random valid target. Okay, cool. So it's kind of like Underbrush Boar, except instead of attacking at the end of your turn, it's the start of your turn, so it has to stay alive. Maybe the Tempt Fate, if you can hit like a protected or a ward or a hidden, you'd get a better result. But because there are so many good 3-drops, it's a little bit of a liability summoning this card, so I'm not too sure. It seems pretty decent depending on the Tempt Fate buff, but yeah, there might be better options at the 3 mana slot. Cool, next up we have Barksworn Hunter. This is your 4 mana Echo. Give 2 strength to this creature, then it attacks a random enemy creature. Okay, so it becomes a 4 mana 4/3, then it attacks a random enemy. Hopefully none of your enemy characters have more than 3 strength, so that it stays alive. I wonder what the Echo effect is. If the Echo card does something to complement it, then it might be good. We'll have to see, but right now it's just decent at best. Next up, we have Beast Liberator. This is a 5 mana 1/2 Amazon with Echo. Summon a random 3 mana wild creature. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't like the card. It's very weak. 5 mana 1/2 weak stat line, and then you summon a 3 mana wild creature, and that wild creature isn't guaranteed to like overperform the 3 mana price point. So no. And even if you get an Echo card, well, if the Echo card summons another random wild creature, then maybe it'd be worth it. But I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's worth it to me. Cool. Moving on. Furious Felid. This is the 3 mana 3/3 Olympian. Roar, deal 1 damage to each 1/1 creature. Okay, so this is some anti-Echo cards going on, which is nice. Definitely something to consider if the meta game shifts to like an Echo-centric, meta. But other than that, it just seems like a tech card to me. It's interesting how this is an Olympian, but I guess it makes sense. Okay, next up we have Hopeful Druid. This is a 4 mana 3/3 Amazon with Echo. Give 1 health and 1 regen to a friendly creature. Okay, cool. So 4 mana 3/3 is definitely understated. The Echo probably does something similar. Technically it's a 4 mana 3/4, but yeah, I don't know. It seems pretty underwhelming to me. Cool, next up we have Albino Hydra. This is a 7 mana 6/6 wild. Deal 6 damage to your opponent's god. Okay. Seems like a decent option for sure. 7 mana 6/6 is very understated though, so I'm not too sure if I'd be playing this over other 7 mana cards or late game cards. Cool. So moving on to our rares, we have Noxious Arachne. This is a 1 mana 1/1 Confused and Deadly. Ooh. This card is kind of spicy. I actually like this card. Yeah, I like this card. It's 1/1. It's a 1 mana 1/1 with Deadly. The only downside is the Confuse, which kind of sucks. It's probably just decent, honestly. It's definitely a cool design, though. Cool. Moving on. 2 mana 1/3 Vexing Rascal. Regen 1. When this creature is healed, deal 2 damage to the weakest enemy creature. Okay, cool. So basically, if this survives damage at the end of the turn, it'll regen and it'll deal 2 damage to whatever your opponent's weakest creature is. That's pretty decent in my opinion. If it gets buffed, it's even more effective. But yeah, definitely something to consider. It's just, what situations can you invoke it being damaged? You know what I mean? Is it like do you give it burn or something? Or, do you have to attack into it? Because if you have to attack into it, then that takes another turn to like do, you know what I mean? So the survivability is definitely a question mark for me, which is why I'm just calling this decent at best. Cool. Next up, we have Agador Border Guard. This is a 3 mana 2/4 with Frontline. At the end of your turn, heal a damaged friendly creature for 1. Okay, that's nice. So there's some synergy there might be some synergy there with Vexing Rascal, even though it already has regen, so that's something to consider. 3 mana, 2/4 with frontline is a decent stat line, although it could be better, but I have no other opinion on this card, really. Cool. Next up, we have a 1 mana spell, Territorial Dominion. Your strongest creature attacks your opponent's strongest creature. If your creature survives, fully heal it. Oh, that's actually not... I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely not bad. It's basically a form of removal. It's a form of removal, or it's a way to deal damage as long as you know you have the strongest creature, and that's pretty easy to play around, right? So it seems to be like an effective form of removal, but I mean this requires probably testing, and it's probably matchup dependent too, depending on if you're playing against a war, a light, or like an aggro or deception or something like that. So that's interesting to see. Maybe this will see play, maybe this won't. Next up, we have Barkskin Warrior, regen 1. When this creature survives damage, heal it for 1 health. This is a 3 mana 1/2 Amazon, or 1/4 Amazon, sorry. I don't know if I like it. It seems pretty underwhelming for a 3 mana 1/4. Yeah, it has regen, and yeah, you get to heal when it survives damage, but what else? You know what I mean? I don't think it's really like a busted card. Moving on, we have Druid of the Cycle. This is a 4 mana 3/4 Amazon with Echo. Roar, obliterate a card in any void and add a 1/1 injured sprout to your hand. Okay, cool. So that's interesting. It also kind of like, it's a good anti-void game plan card. Like, so, I mean, like Death has a lot of those. So if this could be a tech card against Death, really. And depending on what the Echo card does, it probably does something similar. That could be like a viable tech card, honestly. 4 mana 3/4 is underwhelming in stats, but the Amazon tag kind of helps because it gets Amazon buffs. But yeah, I'm not too sure. It's definitely a tech card for sure. Especially if you know you're playing against a void-centric strategy. Maybe like board wipe Death or some sort of Death. But yeah, decent card. Cool, moving on. We have Loam Strider. This is a 2 mana 0/4 wild. Frontline regen 1. Give 1 strength to this creature after it is healed. Oh, that's cool. This is actually not a bad card, but the fact that it has 0... I mean, it can attack though, so it can attack into like a weak minion to get the regen and then get the strength buff, so maybe it's good. The fact that it is frontline though means it's going to be attracting a lot of different attacks, so there might be situations where it just like, it's just a body at this point, right? Like a chump blocker, so you'll play that card and it just gets attacked and it dies before it gets the buff. So it's decent. I think it's more mediocre, but there could be situations where that's useful. Cool, moving on to Lupine Wayfarer. This is your 5 mana 5/5 wild with Tempt Fate. Roar, give Blitz to this creature if you control another wild creature. Okay, that's nice. So it's a 5/5 with Blitz, which is nice. And then the Tempt Fate option, man, depending on the buff, you can get like so much advantage. So this card could be pretty good. Definitely one of the better cards we've analyzed over like this review. So keep an eye out for this card. It's a great mid-range option. Oh, I forgot to mention, it's a 5 mana wild, so there's synergy with Burrowing Scarab, or Burrowing... What? The Burrow card. The 3 mana 1/4 that if it survives at the start of your turn, summon a 5 mana wild creature. That one. I forget what it's called, but yeah, it summons this card. So that could be something. Cool. Moving on to Pack Succession. So this is a 5 mana spell. Summon a random 5 mana wild creature. It attacks strongest enemy creature. If your creature dies, summon that creature again. Oh. That's good. So if you summon like the 5 mana 4/3 with Blitz and Overkill, and it goes into an opponent's minion, it resummons again, and then you can attack with it again. So that's definitely pretty interesting. That's probably one of the more high roll situations, but you can also summon like a Veil Warden Minotaur. You can summon a Lufine Wayfarer. So it seems like mid-range nature is here to stay. And that's a pretty good card for mid-range nature. So we'll see if this sees play or makes a cut, but it could definitely make the cut in mid-range nature lists. Cool. Next up we have Warrior of Paradise. This is our 4-mana 3/3 Amazon with Blitz. After this creature attacks, give 2 strength to a random other friendly creature. Okay, cool. So right away you can attack with this card, give strength to another creature, and then have that creature attack. So that's nice. It's 4 mana 5/3 worth of stats, and it has Blitz, so there's an immediate impact on board if it chooses to do so. So decent card. I think it has potential for sure. Cool. Moving on to our epic cards, we have Plan the Hunt. This is your 2-mana spell. Heal each friendly creature for 2 and give them hidden for 1 turn. It's actually really good, right? Giving them hidden for 1 turn means that you're setting them up for lethal. For Amazons, this is definitely good. For wild creatures, it's definitely good. Just basically, this card will help you set up lethal. If you're winning, and you're about to win, and you can like get lethal next turn as long as all your minions stay alive. You play Plan the Hunt, heal your creatures, and then give them hidden, so that your opponent needs either A, an AoE spell, or B, like a random targeting spell. So yeah, that's pretty good. Decent card. I'd probably run 1 as like maybe a way to like ensure victory, but I don't know. It's also kind of situational, but it's definitely a decent card. Cool. Next up, we have Forest Heart Dryad. This is a 3-mana 2/3 with Wild Echo. After a friendly creature attacks, heal it for 2. Okay, that's very interesting. So this can help out with the sprouts, right? The injured sprouts. So that can be a thing. It also has Echo, so I'm interested to see what this the Echo card does. It might do something similar. But it's definitely something to consider, especially in those sprout decks. Cool. Moving on to our last epic card, we have United Reinforcements. This is a 5-mana spell. Give 2 of the following to each of your Amazon and wild creatures. 2 strength, 1/1, 1 health, and then heal them for 2. Wow. This is definitely a finisher. Yeah, it's definitely a finisher. So you just play this card on a board full of like, I don't know, minions, like Amazons or wild creatures, and you just pick the 2 strength and pick the 1/1 and then deal all that damage together. So yeah, I think this, I'm trying to think of all the other finisher options. You have Firewine, you have Wildfire. This might be the best one. Possibly, unless I'm forgetting something. I mean, Sudden Bloom, but that's 6 mana. Yeah, this might be the best finisher option for Wild after the set releases. So we'll see how that happens. Or we'll see how that plays out. But it's definitely a powerful effect for sure. Cool. So now we're moving on to our legendary cards. First up, we have Dagon, the Dawn Wolf. This is Blitz, regen 1. When a creature is healed, give 1/1 to it. Oh. Yeah, that's pretty good. 3 mana 2/3. It's definitely understated, but hey, it has regen 1 and it has Blitz, so you can definitely attack, summon it, attack into a weaker creature, end your turn, it gets 1/1, and then if your opponent doesn't deal with it, it gets another chance to gain another buff, which is pretty big in my opinion. Also, the effect doesn't just apply to it applies to every other creature. So injured sprout, yeah, basically anything. So this is definitely something to watch out for. And all the other wild creatures have regen too. So yeah, this card is definitely something to look out for in the wild nature like domain. Cool. Next up, we have Silk Spite. This is a 5 mana 3/3 wild card. After a creature is healed and roar, summon a 1/1 Noxious Arachne with Deadly. It then performs an extra attack on a random valid target. Oh my god. That's not bad. So you summon this, you destroy a creature, and then, I don't know, if you, at the end of your turn, if you have a creature that has regen, that creature heals, and then they summon it. You summon another Noxious Arachne, and they attack. Oh. Yeah, the card sucks. I'm just kidding. It's really good. Yeah, even if it's understated for 5/5, or for a 5 mana 4/4, it's a 4/4 because you're counting the Noxious Arachne that gets summoned with Roar. There are a ton of situations where you can just have a field full of creatures with regen and you just wipe out your opponent's board. So this card is super good. Yeah, nature is looking mighty fine right now. Oh my god. And it's also a 5 mana wild creature. So Ominous Burrow, there we go, that's the name of the card. God damn it. So Ominous Burrow summons this card. That's actually really good. That's scary. Mid-range nature, or even just like aggro nature, is going to be a contender next meta for sure. It already is a contender, but even more so now. They just got a big buff. I haven't even finished the last card. Okay, what's the last card? Number 3, Dahlia Night Gardener. This is a 3 mana 3/3 Amazon Echo. When a friendly creature is healed, summon a 1/1 Injured Sprout. Oh, so it just they just keep going with the healing, essentially, right? They perpetuate it. So, and I'm guessing their Echo thing does the same thing. Hopefully, maybe, I'm not too sure, but that's pretty good. Like, there's a lot of ways to set up this Silk Spike, right? You summon Dahlia, you summon Dagon, you summon the Silk Spike. You have the Injured Sprouts who already heal themselves anyways. You have the War's Wake. Lots of things that can be really strong, honestly. I think nature, along with deception, got a lot of great tools. Magic and War did too, but it came in the form of like singular cards. But nature and deception definitely got probably some of the best cards in the set, or as a whole, like collectively, right? Best packages, I guess, because Garen in War is pretty good, and then the 4 mana 1/4 that discounts your deck in Magic is also pretty good. Alistrina, right? So, closing thoughts. Yeah, I think nature is going to be a great contender in this meta for sure. Cards to watch out for are obviously the Legendaries and United Reinforcements, because yeah, that card is pretty nutty as a finisher. But I mean, Dagon, the Dawn Wolf, Silk Spike, and Dahlia, those Legendaries are fire. Like, I would be so happy if I just pulled like a nature legendary, you know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And that wraps up our analysis on the nature cards for the new set expansion Mortal Judgment for Gods Unchained. If you did like the content, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if I missed anything, please leave your thoughts in the comment below, right? Like, there are a ton of combos, ton of possibilities opened up. Like, I love theory crafting with the audience, and I hope y'all, like, you know, share your thoughts in the comments. Yeah, this is the last domain we're going to do, and then the final domain is neutral. And hopefully I can get that done by tomorrow, but this seems to be like the last video I'm shooting today. Anyways, thank y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all have a great evening, morning, or afternoon. Tell your loved ones you love them, and see you next time. Peace.